Hello everyone and welcome to the Sunday Hungaroring Chronicles. Now, this is the first one that we have done on Sunday after all races. We couldn't do it last time out in Silverstone as I had to keep this channel safe due to the strikes and all sorts of stuff we had going on with that. However, with the main channel back and everything now back to normal, this channel obviously fully back, so we can get all the highlights and all sorts of stuff done on here, including this live stream. Now we are going to be going through obviously how today's action went, and if I'm honest, it wasn't really the best. If I want to talk about all series at once, well, that's what we'll start off with. It was a very domination day. We had a driver dominating quite a bit. And the same thing was the case, and obviously for Formula 1. Formula 2 as well, which you don't often see too much. Formula 3 and the Porsche Supercup, I have to say. Which obviously the Porsche Supercup was a great race. But, yes, they only race over 30 minutes. A few of those laps were also behind safety cars, so it's really a bit hard because a Porsche Supercup race is always gonna seem good. A Porsche Supercup race is always gonna seem good, just even if it's the most boring thing, just because of how short it is. So, a very dominant day. We're gonna go through the results, and Lewis Hamilton beated Max Verstappen by 0.003 of a second yesterday. Today, we thought we have a battle. We have a battle on our hands. We didn't. We really did not. Max Verstappen won the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lando Norris got second for the second race in a row, but he was 33 seconds behind. And then Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez finished in third. A bit of less overtaking than he usually has to do to the podium. Started in ninth, made his way through the field. And then it was Hamilton in fourth. Disappointment for Hamilton. Oh, my voice is going. Disappointment for Hamilton. Exactly where he dropped down to on the opening lap. Verstappen dived to the inside. We'll actually go through the results first, and then we'll get more into what actually happened. But Verstappen dived to the inside. Then Piastri got through. And then Norris roared around the outside as well of turn 2. The outside became the inside into turn 3. Got the position, did Norris. But continuing through the order, Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, Stroll, Albon, Bottas, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Joe Guan Yu. Terrible start by him. We'll get more onto him as well. And he was the one who caused. 2 of the retirements were at the bottom. And then we had Magnussen, 1 lap down all the way from 10th downwards, 1 lap down. And then we had Logan Sargent, who had a spin, then came into the pits about 1 or 2 laps away from the end and retired in the pit lane. But however, it was Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly who retired on the race track. On the opening lap, now, I said they did retire on the racetrack, but they did manage to get it back in, but they had a crash on the racetrack mainly, and it was contact there between, it was Joe getting a terrible start, going into Ricciardo. Ricciardo goes into the Alpine, and then both Alpines come together at turn number 1. So that's the order for you. Now we can talk more about Verstappen, Norris, Perez, and all sorts of stuff that we have. Now, Max Verstappen, lap number 1. Good start by Verstappen. He was already alongside, and even if he was just not fully alongside at the moment, if he had a nose just alongside, Hamilton cannot move over, or there's going to be a crash. So Hamilton tries to squeeze him as much as he can to the inside. Norris then goes to the outside line. He couldn't fully go around the outside and make it 3 wide. So into turn one. Then Verstappen obviously with the inside. You know what he's been doing this season. As soon as he was alongside, we were all like, oh, he's just gonna send it. I think we were all thinking that at the moment. Sent it to the inside, pushed Hamilton a tiny bit wide at turn number one. Exactly what we've seen him doing at races like Spain and all sorts of races. And that allowed Oscar Piastri to slip through to the inside line, and Hamilton got such a bad exit that you had, so Piastri moved up as well to second, but then Norris, you had Hamilton getting such a bad exit due to being forced off by Verstappen that getting the power down on Norris went wheel to wheel with Hamilton, and he went all the way around the outside of turn two. The outside became the inside, and then he got the place. So Hamilton fell down from first all the way to where he finished in fourth. Now, Norris and McLaren, you had Oscar Piastri. Who was ahead of Norris all the way until the pit stops happened, when Norris came into the pits first. Piastri then came out. Norris obviously having Piastri, Norris, they came, and then when Piastri came in later on, came out wheel to wheel into turn one, and then obviously Norris, warmer tyres, better traction, went all the way around the outside of turn one. Nothing Piastri could do, and since then, the gap just went dropping down like a snail. His pace was good, but at the end, it really just wasn't. So McLaren, they're really in it. I predicted them not to be good this weekend. They've proved me wrong. I think this could be permanent now for McLaren. They've won at 2 different types of circuits now. So I think this is permanent for McLaren. They're always going to be in this battle for second, but can they get in the battle for first? That's the thing. Clearly from the evidence, even if someone else does take pole, because actually, be honest, other teams do get fairly close to Red Bull in qualifying at some occasions, obviously, unless Verstappen decides to go about 4 tenths or 5 tenths clear of the field but most of the field do get close at certain points, which has been giving us some thrilling qualifying sessions this year. So gonna be super exciting and interesting to see what's gonna happen in Spa. 2 qualifying sessions there, and obviously 2 races as well. Can someone just, honestly, at this stage, I don't think anyone can beat Verstappen over race distance, but can someone just take pole in the sprint shootout and just win the sprint? You don't have pit stops. You can, I know there's a very long straight, I have to say, but can someone try and defend at least? Give us some action that we can leave the sprint and be happy. Because the Grand Prix, I don't feel like there's pit stops, there's so much different stuff. Red Bull with just much better pace can easily do something different and win it. But I want to battle on the circuit. I really do want to battle on the circuit. So hopefully we are going to be getting McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, not Red Bull, obviously not Red Bull, unless they want to challenge themselves, which their reliability could. But Mercedes, gonna be interesting. But Mercedes, their race pace wasn't the best today. Hamilton really complaining, and that's how it can easily change. Mercedes, I did mention it, didn't have the best of race pace, and it showed. So Mercedes still need to work on their race pace. Their qualifying, I would say they're doing better, but they need to work on their race pace. So Ferraris, don't really know what to say about them. Just Sainz making up his own strategies, Leclerc speeding in the pit lane, chaos down at Ferrari, not understanding stuff over the radio, and I've honestly just given up. I basically went and just put in these results, so I didn't even have a clue where Ferrari finished. I basically was sleeping for half of the race. I decided to sleep and then set an alarm for, what time was it at the time? Not 4:30, 3:30. But the race was still going on, so I got to see the last few laps. But not really anything happened. And that's the problem. So I'm hoping that in future races that we do get some action. After the summer break could be interesting, but just no one's getting closer to Red Bull. No one is getting closer to Red Bull at all. Aston Martin, their pace has just fallen off, so they aren't able to challenge. And other than that, Red Bull domination. Perez improving all the way to 3rd. Russell, good recovery to 6th, I'd say. And for Formula 1, that's really it. Going to be interesting to see what happens next time out in the sprint weekend. But we're going to run over now to Formula 2. That I've had enough of talking about Formula 1 already. Formula 2. Right, let's stand right over here so you can see me. Jimin, another domination. Lights out for the F2 feature. And he didn't look backwards. Battling was behind. Vesti, Martin, Zavasa, they were all debating positions. Duran was stretching clear. And Duran just absolutely dominated that one. Vesti finished in 2nd. Martin's 3rd. Ivasa 4th. Hadjar, I should say, 5th. Porsche 6th. Dennis Hauger, yesterday's winner, in 7th. Fittipaldi ahead of Van Manuel Carrera, who finished in 9th. Richard Rashaw in 10th position. Then Jan de Rivera finished ahead of Oliver Behrman. Arthur Leclerc finished ahead of Roman Stanek. Then Roy Nissany, Maloney, Crawford, I don't know what he was playing at. Very aggressive driving by him. It was Brad Benavides who finished right behind Crawford. And then came Ralph Boschung, Kushmani, Cordial, another driver who was very aggressive, which he's a driver that did not surprise me by how aggressive he was driving. His name is Cordial at the end of the day. And Novalak finished in, or didn't classify, but 21st. And then fastest lap for Jack Duran. So Duran taking all the points he could in this race. Absolutely domination. Once again, no one was able to challenge him. There were a lot of battles right behind. Ivasa battling with Hadjar. Ivasa on those obviously different tyres. Similar situation to what he had in Austria. But obviously no safety car to help him out and give him a chance to take the win. So Duran, domination. And as I said, the domination really continues. F1, domination. F2 had a domination as well. And this is really going to be a bit of a short one today as well, this show. Because really, it's not one of the best days of racing. And Formula 3 and Formula 2, I guess it had okay racing, but not some of the racing that we've had earlier on in the year. Zach O'Sullivan, though, guess what? Domination once again. He dominated that one. Beganovic in 2nd. Franco Colapinto in 3rd. And you had Sullivan, Beganovic on the front row starting together. That's exactly where they finished. So nothing really for them. Franco Colapinto in 3rd. Oli Goethe in 4th. Paolo Ron in 5th. And then Marti in 6th. Gabriel Bortoletto, our championship leader, in 7th. Johnny Edgar in 8th. Leonardo Fornaroli in 9th. Mari Boya in 10th. Then Christian Mansell in 11th. And then Luke Browning in 12th. Hugh Barter in 13th. Taylor Barnard in 14th, Gregory Saucy in 15th, then we had Minnie, Willa Gomez, Sophia Flourish once again in our picture, and every time she made an overtake, it sent Josh very happy in the commentary box. Kyle Collette in 19th, Roberto Ferrier in 20th, Maxwell Esterson with a penalty in 21st, and then we had Ida Cohen in 22nd, Maxwell Esterson, his driver number 21st, finished in 21st, Ida Cohen, his driver number 22, finished in 22nd. And then we had Nikita Bedouin, Sebastian Montoya, involved in more stuff today. And then Nikola Tussilov, Alexandro Garcia, Oliver Gray, and then Shin, Tommy Smith. Kalen Frederick did not classify. Zach O'Sullivan, fastest lap as well. So, similar thing in Formula 3. Had its moments, but just wasn't one of those races which we will remember. And not one of the race days that we will remember either. Domination at the front by the two framers. There was a lot of action behind, and one of the things that this race, it was the tyres falling off right at the end, which kind of actually made it interesting. If that didn't happen, it would have, I don't even know if I would have survived all the way till F1, especially with how boring F1 turned out to be. Porsche Super Cup. We're going through this all super quick. We're going through this all very quickly, aren't we? But I was aiming to make this around 30 minutes. So what I will do is I'll see if we can actually take a look back at our predictions and see, not our predictions, but the Sims predictions, because most of us were going Hamilton or Norris. Got those wrong. Let me breathe. Harry King took home the win in the Porsche Super Cup. Once again, a dominant drive. Yes. It says 6 tenths. There was a safety car. It was a one-lap shootout. Boccolacci didn't get close enough. Yes, if the FI actually followed their rules and there was one more lap of racing, might have been a change. But he dominated that one. The safety car right at the end just meant it closed up, which is why everyone finished very close together. Dorian Boccolacci in second, Bastian Boost in third. Boost was putting a lot of pressure on Boccolacci before that safety car came out right at the end. Larry Tanfora in fourth, and then Benjamin Pack in fifth. Harry Jones in sixth, Maurice Schurin in seventh, and then Simon LaQuinta in eighth. Alexander Fatch in ninth, and then Marvin Klin in 10th position to complete the top 10. We're really only going through the top 10 for the Porsche Mobile One Super Cup. However, gonna be interesting going into Belgium in the Porsches. Harry King, great by him, absolutely dominated that one. But we want Austria. We want Austria again. Austria across Formula 3, 2, and 1. I wouldn't say too much. It had good racing, but once again, if we had a battle for the lead, it probably would have electric. It would have made the race absolutely electric. But the Porsche Supercup was electric. We had a battle for the whole lap there, and as I touched on it during the broadcast, Austria best race. This one can take second. Monaco third. Silverstone was dead. It had that dramatic moment at the start, but it completely ruined the race for us because we didn't get to see the battle between King, Boccolacci, Booz, Larry Tenfora, who was the one who wiped them out. So made the Silverstone race boring. But from from Hungary, Monaco without the barriers, it was a very decent. It was a very, very decent race for the Porsche Supercup. Short, snappy. There was action throughout the rest of the field, but at the front, it was an absolute domination. So well done, Harry King, though, on his second victory of the season. He took it in the opening round in Monte Carlo, beating home Larry Tenfora. He got the move done right off the line, and then Larry Tenfora got close, but it's Monaco. Even in the Porsche Super Cups, he wasn't able to make the move. We ended on the safety car on that day. Today, we were almost ending behind the safety car, but we had 2 laps of racing left, and we only got 1 of them. Now I want to touch on that before we actually wrap it up a tiny bit. What was that? Now, lately, they've been ignoring the something minutes plus 1 lap. So is it just technically not a rule anymore? So is that what's going on with this? Is it not a rule anymore that we need to have 1 extra lap after the timing? Because basically, it makes it very hard. Because from what I'm guessing is, the timer, it would have been very close. It would have been very close, and I don't think all the engineers or everyone on the radio to the drivers are going to be shouting 10 seconds left, 9 seconds left, 8 seconds left, because yeah, the checkered flag will be out there, but it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. The plus 1 lap was so much more easier. Now, us commentators will be confused. Oh, are we going to get 1 extra lap? Is this the lap where he comes across the line to win? We just don't have a clue. It's honestly made it very annoying that yes, and also the seconds ran out around the last corner. So the drivers aren't supposed to know, the team isn't supposed to know, and as a commentator, if it was like a first victory or something for a driver, or for example a championship, it would be very annoying because you're not really ready for it. You're not ready for getting that speech out. You're not really ready for it. And for the driver, yes, they see the checkered flag, but you kind of want to know if it's the last lap. So ridiculous. I think the FIA now, what they need to do is just make it clear. I honestly prefer the plus 1 lap. I think we all do. But now they just need to make it clear, because I don't want to go into next race thinking that there's going to be 1 extra lap and then they just end it. So I think we need a clarification on actually, is it 30 minutes plus 1 lap, or is it whenever the timer runs out, whatever lap the timer runs out on is the final lap. We need a clarification on that so we know for the future, because we shouldn't be left confused here. And luckily we saw the checkered flag come out, because we could have easily just cut to the crash right at the end, but no, it just can't happen again. So the FIA need to clarify what is actually the ruling is it 30 minutes plus 1 lap? If it is, then I don't understand why we didn't get 1 more lap. When there was time on the clock, it ran out of the last corner, but it's plus 1 lap. So, it's just confusing. It's just really confusing. We have the IndyCar coming up in about 38 minutes time as well. Now, one thing I did want to do before I do head off, and we do have the time with how boring today has really been, is I wanted to just quickly take a look if we can do this. 1 second, guys. At the prediction video, JB Motorsports. Oh, okay. Let me just go over and find it. It should be in videos, and it should be over here. The winner in Formula. Right, ignore me shouting at that. 1 sec, you've gone to a black screen. Should be sorted very quickly. There we go. One for the first time. Lewis Hamilton takes second. He beats home Max Verstappen, who jumped. So, the order in this one, I'm trying to see if I got any prediction. Any, just give me one correct. Come on. Or, it's not really me, it's the sim, but, you know. Piastri, wrong. Just finish ahead. I said it correctly, so I'm just gonna let myself do it. Max Verstappen, who just finished ahead of Esteban Ocon. Then comes Leclerc. Then comes George Russell, Lando Norris, and then I need to skip a bit more back. On the final lap, the Australian driver looks up and sees the checkered flag first. Oscar Piastri is a winner in Formula 1 for the first time. Lewis Hamilton takes second. He beats home. So it's so Hamilton wrong, Verstappen wrong, Ocon wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where did Leclerc finish again? 1 sec. Let's get the F1 results on. Leclerc finished 7th, so wrong. Russell in 6th, isn't it? Might have Russell correct. 1 sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Russell's correct. There we go. So we've got 1 right. Norris got 2nd. Who just finished ahead of Esteban Ocon. Right, we get to see a bit more here. Alonso. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alonso 8. He got 9th. Well, that was a close one. I can't see who. Then comes Leclerc. Then comes George Russell. I can't currently see who's. Norris, and then it's Fernando Alonso. It's Joe. Okay, but who's behind Joe? I want to know who these two are. Because if it's Albon, I might have one correct. Head of Joe Guan Yu, but what? It's Sargent. Well, that's wrong then. It's Sargent. And Joe was miles back as well. Okay, so we've got. I need to reverse back because a tiny bit to up here. So we get the correct one. So yeah, Russell right. I'm happy with how this one went. We got close with some others, but I'd say decent. Alright then, everyone. IndyCar is gonna take place in 30 minutes time. Make sure you head over to the main JB Motorsports channel if you're watching this later on. Highlights, the plan is with them. F1 should be out today. F2 and F3 will be out tomorrow or Tuesday, with the Porsche Supercup the following day. Now, that was my initial plan, but honestly, I got too bored in Austria and, sorry, not Austria, Silverstone and here, that I did all the F2 and F3 on Saturday, and F2 this morning on Sunday. So, I guess if I feel bored again, which I want to pay attention to the IndyCar race this time and actually be useful in the pits for once. So, the highlights, the F1 highlights I'll do after the IndyCar, and then the F2 and F3 can wait till tomorrow, because I'm actually free across the whole of next week. I'm not touching any grass, I'm just glued to this room, so I'll find a lot of time, and maybe some other content might come. Maybe in the weekdays we can maybe do some gaming as well. So, well, that wraps it up then. I want to thank you for your company for Formula 1 across the main channel and on this channel as well. Hope you enjoyed the highlights. It's qualifying gave us a lot of hope that today's race would be interesting. We thought it would. It didn't deliver though. But Max Verstappen goes into Belgium and Zandvoort. Zandvoort definitely, obviously his home race. But Belgium he can also treat as one of his home races as well. The Dutch army will be there. Sintel will also be there as well in a week's time. It's a sprint weekend as well. Gonna make it interesting, which means that you don't get to breed. We get to Friday. We get to a chaotic FP1 where all the teams run out with their cars and they stay on the track for the majority of it. They only have that 160-minute session, and then they are in to a tensed qualifying to set the grid for the main Grand Prix on Sunday. Then we get to Saturday, where we have the sprint shootout just in the morning, and then we go over to the sprint race. Obviously Formula 3, Formula 2 also taking place, as well as the Porsche Supercup, and then we have the normal race taking place on Sunday as well, with, as I said, F2, F3, Porsche Supercup. Also outside the Belgium Grand Prix weekend, we have touring cars going on at Croft. We have Formula E at the London E-Prix. I'm just trying to think if there's any other series. I believe there's one more which cannot come to my mind right now. But there's a lot coming up. It's going to make it painful for all of us commentators, but it'll definitely be action for all of you. Thank you though for joining me here on this show. Thank you for joining us across the weekend, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.